All right. So I said earlier this week, after the whole Daniel Medvedev thing happened, and I know I'm saying his name wrong, but after the whole Daniel Medvedev thing happened, if you didn't see that, go look at my video on that. I said I knew the U.S. Open this year would have more crazy moments, but I just hope they wouldn't be disrespectful, over the top like the Medvedev thing was. And I'm sorry to say my hopes were wrong, but I was right about the drama. We've had more dramatic moments, and we've had a really big disrespectful moment that happened yesterday. So yesterday, American Taylor Townsend was called classless and without education after she beat the brakes off of her opponent, Jelena Ostapenko, in 2 sets. The first one very close, the second one not so close. If you don't know who Taylor Townsend is, this is her right here. She is she's a very popular doubles player. I think she's the #1 ranked doubles tennis player in the world, and she's been playing singles in this tournament and moved on to the 3rd round. She's had a really good U.S. Open, and I hope she continues to do well. And this is her opponent, Jelena Ostapenko, ranked, I think, 25th or somewhere in that range, who you see screaming and yelling at her right now. And the match started off in Ostapenko's favor, right? She won the first 5 games of the first set, and then Taylor Townsend went on to win the next 9 games and absolutely fleece her. Just beat her bad, okay? And after the match, they meet at the net to say, good match, what happens in every single tennis match, and an argument ensued. The insults started rolling. So in this video, we're going to look at what happened. We're going to go through what Ostapenko says. We're going to go through Taylor Townsend's reply afterwards. We're going to go through Ostapenko's reply to what she said and how she, plays a little bit of the victim role, tries to explain what she's saying. Okay, we'll get to that. We're going to look at Naomi Osaka's reply to it because I think she's one of the few people to just kind of say what's going on. I think what a lot of people are thinking, but what maybe people don't want to say, or maybe they don't want to look into, or they just don't want to make a big deal out of it. So I'm going to play Naomi Osaka's reply to this as well. But we're going to start off by showing the video of what actually happened. So the argument with this, what this is about, they met at the net at the end of the match, okay? And after this happened, Ostapenko says something to her saying, you have to say sorry when you hit the net. Earlier in the match there, in tennis, when a player serves or returns the ball back and it hits the net and redirects and does its thing and it messes up the other player, the player usually says, hey, my bad, I'm sorry, okay? Taylor Townsend didn't do this. I guess this is a courtesy thing in tennis, and I've only been watching tennis for about 2.5 years, but every time it happens, I always think to myself, you're not really sorry. There's no point in doing this. But in this time, Taylor Townsend decided, I'm not going to say sorry. They just kept playing, right? And after the match, after Ostapenko got beat, she was so angry, so frustrated with the fact that a ball hit the net and that Taylor Townsend didn't say sorry, that she proceeds to make this scene. And keep in mind, Taylor Townsend is an American. This is at the U.S. Open, and Ostapenko is from Ostapenko, home country. Ostapenko is from Latvia, okay? So this is a home major for Taylor Townsend against a woman from Latvia. So obviously the crowd is very, very much on Taylor Townsend's side. They meet at the net. She's mad about her not saying sorry for the ball hitting the net early in the match. Let's see what happens. She said you have to say sorry. Taylor says I don't have to do anything.
No, I don't have to do anything.
Let me go back.
You have to say sorry. No, I don't have to do anything.
The pointing gets me. The pointing just gets me, and this is it. When it hits the net, you have to say sorry. And you can read her lips. You have no education. You have no education. You have no education. You dumb. You have no education. Taylor Townsend absolutely does not give a shit. Gets lit. Gets the crowd lit. Exciting. I just won a big match in the U.S. Open. I have this girl hating on me for bullshit. I'm not mad. I'm about to get another check.
That emotion coming out of Taylor there. The entire
and then she points at her. Look at her. Round the crowd up. All right.
Taylor egging it on. You love to see that competitive fight.
Let's go. All right. This her reaction to this in the moment after I saw it, and her reaction to everything in the interviews and everything beforehand, have made me a major fan of Taylor Townsend. I'm not gonna lie. I knew of her, but I never really watched doubles, so I was like a fan of her just because she's black in tennis, but I wasn't a fan of her personally. Now I'm a fan of her personally as well, and because she's black in tennis, okay? So she absolutely gets the crowd lit. It says who cares about her, points at her, and has the crowd. Yeah, love it, okay? So now let's look at Townsend's reply right afterwards to being called classless and without education for not saying sorry after a ball hit a net in tennis, which happens a lot.
Can you fill us in on the conversation you were having with Jelena out there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's competition. People get upset when they lose, and you can't. Some people say bad things. She told me I have no class, I have no education, and to see what happens when we get outside the U.S. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I beat her in Canada outside the U.S. I beat her in New York outside the U.S. So let's see what else she has to say.
You were
All right, so that's her afterwards, right after the match. She's still on the court. You see a lot of people saying, a lot of people are saying, she's proving Ostapenko's point of having no education because she says I beat her outside of the country in New York. To that, I'll say a couple things. A, she just won a match. She's absolutely lit. She has the crowd on her side. She just argued with a woman that's hating. I think she's just kind of just talking off the cuff right now. And B, the people who are saying that and agreeing with that and think that's funny, I think you are the same people that make the dog whistles that I believe Jelena Ostapenko is making. And you're also the same people that when you make those dog whistles also say that you don't hear them or say that they don't exist. But let's keep rolling. Let's go to another angle of this, because I say this all the time with the internet. You see 1,000 angles of everything. You get the reply from people immediately. So this is in the same moment with her yelling at her. And you see Taylor Townsend in every single step of this is just handling it with class, actually, with absolute class. She says, you should just take a loss better. I don't think you're mad over a ball hitting the net and I didn't say sorry. I think you're mad that in the beginning of this match, you were up 5 games. I came back and beat you the first set and then slapped you the second set and had you angry. I think that's what you're mad about. So let's listen to the lyrics. You know that made her more shitty. You know, as a person, I'm more of a if they go low, you go lower. But I love the kill with kindness. You know that makes her more shitty. And look at Ostapenko's shitty ass afterwards. Look what she does. Look what she says to the person recording to the crowd. A nice little fuck you. What would the U.S. Open in New York be without getting a couple fuck yous? Am I right? Okay. So that's another clip of this. So let's look at Ostapenko's reply. She had a couple replies. I'm not gonna read all of them. She went on Instagram afterwards. Again, I say it all the time on this channel. I'll say it again. With the world that we live in now, we always get the 5, 6, 7, 8 angles. We get everyone talking about it. So let's see what Ostapenko said. She says, wow, how many messages I've received that I am a racist. I was never racist in my life. I'm not going to lie. She could have said a million different things to make herself look better. When you say I was never racist in my whole life, that makes me think you're racist most of your life. I'm not saying she is, and I know that. I'm just saying I was never racist in my life. Come on now. You even have to say that. Everyone, everyone, you know what I'm saying? Saying I was never racist in my life makes me think you're racist all the time, but let's keep going. I was never racist in my life. And I respect all nations of people in the world. For me, it doesn't matter where you come from. There are some rules in tennis, and unfortunately, when the crowd is with you, you can't use it in a disrespectful way to your opponent. Unfortunately for me, coming from such a small country, I don't have that huge support and a chance to play in my homeland. I always love to play in the U.S. and the U.S. Open, but this is the first time someone is approaching the match this disrespectful way. So dog whistle, disrespectful, then you play the victim card, try to blame it on her. It does fit a lot of check marks, but have your own opinions on this. And then the last thing I want to say with this is, because I do hear the dog whistles, but Taylor Townsend has handled it with class. She hasn't mentioned, people have asked her, how do you feel about being a black woman and being called uneducated by your opponent in a sport that is mainly white? She says, I don't want to say anything about her. She keeps it classy the entire time. She's like, I want to focus on business. I want to focus on tennis. I want to let my racket do the talking, which she did because she beat her. But Naomi Osaka was asked about it today because, of course, they've asked everybody about it. It's been, like, I'm looking at the U.S. Open right now. As soon as they cut to something else, they're going to show it again. And I want to show Naomi Osaka's reply to end this because I think she has a great reply. So let's go to this.
I mean, that's really difficult to say. I think obviously it's one of the worst things that you can say to a black tennis player in a majority white sport. And granted, I know Taylor and I know how hard she's worked and I know how smart she is. So she's the furthest thing from uneducated or anything like that. But if you're like genuinely asking me about the history of Ostapenko, I don't think that's the craziest thing she said. I'm going to be honest.
Which is crazy.
I think it's ill timing and the worst person you could have ever said it to. And I don't know if she knows the history of it in America. But
and she may not know the history, and she might not have been meaning to be racist. She just might have been meaning to be disrespectful, mean, and rude. You know what I'm saying? But it does seem that way. It's a dog whistle that I hear a little bit, but fair enough.
I know she's never going to say that ever again in her life. But, yeah, I mean, it's just terrible. Like, that's just really bad.
Terrible, really bad. I agree. Ostapenko also plays in doubles. She played today. She lost, so she's out of the U.S. Open in singles and doubles. Taylor Townsend is moving on in the U.S. singles, so we're gonna hope she keeps having a great run. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be mad at her winning. I'm kind of going for I want Coco, but I wouldn't be mad at Taylor Townsend winning. And yeah, just a more dramatic moment. I don't know if we're going to get a moment bigger than this. After the Daniel Medvedev thing happened, I did come out and say we're going to get more crazy moments. I don't know if we're going to get a crazier moment than this. But we're going to continue to get more big moments, more entertaining moments, more fun tennis for the U.S. Open. So definitely follow this channel, GS Studios, GSTEWDIOS, so you can get the most up-to-date, most entertaining information on what's going on with the U.S. Open. So that's the news you want to know. And also follow this channel, GS Studios, GSTEWDIOS, for the news that you need to know. What's going on in the world, what's going on with Trump, what's going on with the economy, because things change so often. So yeah. Definitely subscribe to this channel, especially if you're watching all the way to now. I mean, why wouldn't you subscribe? But thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments, is this a dog whistle or is it just disrespectful? And also let me know, where do you think, who's going to win the U.S. Open if you're watching now? You might as well just tell me who you think's who's going to win so I could try to maybe make a bet and win. But yeah, thank you for watching. That is a wrap, and I'll see you guys in the next video.